Madam President, as we are here in the Senate today, Washington rests under a blanket of snow, reminding us here of the Christmas spirit across the nation, the spirit that is bringing families happily together for the holidays. Unfortunately, a different spirit has descended on this Senate. The spirit that has descended on the Senate is one described by Chief Justice John Marshall back in the Burr trial. Those malignant and vindictive passions which rage in the bosoms of contending parties struggling for power. Two-time Pulitzer Prize winner Richard Hofstadter captured some examples in his famous essay, The Paranoid Style in American Politics. The malignant and vindictive passions often arise, he points out, when an aggrieved minority believes that, I quote, America has been largely taken away from them and their kind, though they are determined to try to repossess it and to prevent the final destructive act of subversion. Does that sound familiar, Madam President, in this health care debate? 40 years ago, he wrote that. Hofstadter continued, those aggrieved fear what he described as the, quote, now familiar sustained conspiracy. Familiar then, 40 years ago. Persistent now. Whose supposed purpose, Hofstadter described, is to undermine free capitalism, to bring the economy under the direction of the federal government, and to pave the way for socialism. Again, familiar words here today. More than 50 years ago, he wrote of the dangers of an aggrieved right-wing minority with the power to create what he called a political climate in which the rational pursuit of our well-being and safety would become impossible. A political environment in which the rational pursuit of our well-being and safety would become impossible. The malignant and vindictive passions that have descended on the Senate are busily creating just such a political climate. Far from appealing to the better angels of our nature, too many colleagues are embarked on a desperate, no-holds-barred mission of propaganda, falsehood, obstruction, and fear. The biggest reason for these desperate acts by our colleagues is that we are gathering momentum, and we are gathering strength, and we are working toward our goal of passing this legislation. And when we do, the lying time is over. The American public will see what actually comes to pass when we pass this bill as our new law. The American public will see firsthand the difference between what is and what they were told. Facts, as the presiding officer has often said, are stubborn things. It is one thing to propagandize and scare people about the unknown. It is much tougher to propagandize and scare people when they are seeing and feeling and touching something different. When it turns out there are no death panels, when there is no bureaucrat between you and your doctor, when the ways your health care changes seem like a good deal to you and a pretty smart idea, when the American public sees the discrepancy between what really is and what they were told by the Republicans, there will be a reckoning. There will come a day of judgment about who was telling the truth. Our colleagues are behaving in this way, unprecedented, malignant, and vindictive, because they are desperate to avoid that day of judgment. Frantic and desperate now, and willing to do strange and unprecedented things, willing to do anything, even to throw our troops at war in the way of that day of reckoning. If they can cause this bill to fail, the truth will never stand up as a living reproach to the lies that have been told. And on through history, our colleagues could claim they defeated a terrible monstrosity. But when the bill passes and this program actually comes to life and it is friendly, Americans will then know, beyond any capacity of spin or propaganda to dissuade them, that they were lied to. And they will remember. There will come a day of judgment. And our Republican friends know that. And that, Mr. President, is why they are terrified. Mr. President, I yield the floor.